All right, grade fours, welcome to my art channel. Love art. And I like this particular activity. I've done something like this before. I do it a slightly different way, but this still seems cool. This seems a little easier with the way your instructions are. So I've got kind of a clean, bright workspace. I've got my instructions here, and I've got a Sharpie. So the Sharpie that you want is the fine point. If you don't have a Sharpie, this can be done with a regular marker. You want it to have that tip that kind of comes to a bit of a point. It can also be done with a pencil. You just need to have a little more patience when you're thickening the lines. So I have done it before with those items. So let's get started. We're gonna do the first couple steps in this video. So the first thing we wanna do is draw 4 squiggly lines horizontally across your page going from one edge to the other. So I want my page set up landscape, which means it is shorter and fatter, hamburger style. And then where's that hot dog style? No, I never got that analogy. So anyways, you want it shorter and fatter. And we're gonna draw our 4 lines across our page, and we want them to be nice and spaced out. So here's my first squiggly line. They don't have to be wavy like that. They can be a little more interesting if you want them to be. I'm gonna do one up here now. Just trying to add a little more squiggle to this one to be a little bit less uniform. And then I'm gonna have 2 more kind of equidistant, which means there'll be equal space between them. Not perfectly equal space, but kind of the idea. And 1 more. So often in art, we want to do things first in a pencil. In this activity, you can go straight to the marker. Now, some things you need to keep in mind is that I only put 1 sheet in your package. If you mess up, it's probably going to show through on the back. So you could use a piece of regular paper. It's just not as thick. It'll work. You might want to make sure you have paper underneath that piece when you're working with a marker. But the other thing is, be patient with yourself and trust the process. Okay, so there might be moments where you're pretty far along in your art and you might start thinking it's not going to look good. I really want you to trust the process that it will turn out looking cool. Okay, so then it says, create large dots in the center of each line. Create a dot at the edge of the page as well, and do this on both edges. So again, this doesn't have to be right perfect, but I'm going to estimate that the middle is right about here, and I'm going to create a large dot, kind of looking at the example on the instructions. It's kind of about that big. And then I'm going to try to just create a line, a line, I feel like I'm starting to drift to the side. It's not a huge deal. And at the edge of the page. And at the edge of the page. Okay, that's it. First 2 steps in the books. Let's take it 1 step further. Excuse me. Start creating arches in one direction. At the dot, working towards the edge of the page. So I'm looking at my instructions, and it wants me to start creating dots, or arches, working in one direction. Okay. Working towards the edge of the page, I see. So we want to make arches between our dots. So I'm going to make one like this. This is an arch. I just want to make sure they're doing it the way I think they're doing it. Okay, good. So our arches always want to be curved. So we're going to kind of come up and back down. We just created a little space there. That's interesting. So your work will have lots of interest to it because everyone's squiggly lines will be different. So here's more arches. So they are thinner at the edges and get fatter in the middle. Arches can look like frowns as we go up the page like that. Can I do some or from the last bit or in the Stevens?